Yeah, let's talk about the first province of the World Economic Forum. This is, of course, Canada. Canada that was predicted in 2014 to become a dictatorship by one Canadian Conservative MP. And again, this just seems just remarkably prescient at this point, doesn't it? Why Canada will become a dictatorship under Trudeau? Huffington Post back in 2014. It's a different world back then. So just a couple of quotes. It's becoming clearer as the day of Trudeau's Liberals wears on. If elected Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau would turn Canada into a dictatorship. Wow. Things that aged well. This is the man who admitted that he admires China's basic dictatorship. Have you seen that quote?
Yes.
Where he's like, yeah, well, they can turn on a dime and they can get things done. It's like, yes, but they're also a genocidal tyranny, Justin.
Justin doesn't care too much about that.
No, that's not the real. He admires they can get things done quickly. And so he runs the Liberal Party like a dictatorship as well. And so now that we know that he runs his party like a dictatorship, we must ask ourselves, is there any indication he wouldn't do the same as the leader of Canada? Would a Prime Minister Trudeau arbitrarily whip the vote and outlaw certain moral questions? Could Prime Minister Trudeau be trusted to make decisions for the good of the country and not just for his personal self-worth? Would Trudeau call in the police to enforce his vision? Well, we actually have the answers to all of these questions now.
Survey says what?
Yeah, and the answers are all yes, he would. He absolutely is the dictator that was being proposed there. And so last week we did a video called The Tendrils of the World Economic Forum, in which we demonstrated that Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum, says that his people, his acolytes of the World Economic Forum, have penetrated, his word, not mine, cabinets and embedded their agents at the top of governments. And he says, quote, that Trudeau is one of his most loyal, and Canada is a constituency of the World Economic Forum. That's the term he uses. It's constituency.
Loyal.
And most loyal. There's none more loyal to the World Economic Forum.
Not he's a good friend or any of this that you would say from a lobbying group, as they would normally have language.
It feels very much like it's fealty.
It sounds more like an intelligence agency, frankly.
Yes. He's an asset. But this is the situation up until then. And I just wanted to expand a bit more on that because, of course, Canada has gone into a circumstance where they've enacted a bunch of emergency powers, and Trudeau's deputy, Chrystia Freeland, wants to make those powers permanent. Let's have a listen to her.
We used all the tools that we had prior to the invocation of the Emergencies Act, and we determined that we needed some additional tools. Now, some of those tools, we will be putting forward measures to put those tools permanently in place. The authorities of FinTrack, I believe, do need to be expanded to cover crowdsourcing platforms and payment platform and their payment providers. So that is something that we need to do and we will do, and that needs to be in place permanently. Some of these other tools, like the sharing of information between law enforcement and financial services, and the requirement of financial services to be reviewing their accounts proactively, and the immunity from prosecution that we have provided to them in doing this. These are extraordinary measures that we absolutely believe are necessary in the current circumstances, that are having an impact, and let me also point out, having a peaceful impact.
Peacefully destroying your life.
Not
Permanently.
We've exhausted all our options, except talking.
Yeah, we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas.
It's an absolute joke. But then these measures that we need for this time,
Yeah.
okay, but we're going to have them permanently.
Yes. Permanent emergency measures for a digital police state, says Trudeau's deputy. She also thinks that COVID created a window of opportunity, political opportunity, in order to in order to change the way that these things work. And so you can see that these people are never letting a crisis go to waste. Would it surprise you if Chrystia Freeland was a part of the World Economic Forum?
Would it bugger?
Go to the next one, John. Boom.
There
There she is.
we go.
Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that agent?
Yeah. And as we covered in the previous video, Klaus Schwab had said literally that half of the Canadian cabinet are members of the World Economic Forum. And there are graphics like this going around that show it. And I mean, I haven't checked every single one of these people, but I checked a bunch of them, and they have most of them have some kind of ties to the World Economic Forum. It seems, especially Trudeau and Freeland, who are the two people at the top under Emperor Schwab. Just seems to be that that's the case.
It's not funny, is it?
No, it's terrifying. And it was great. Majid Nawaz was making this point to Joe Rogan the other day on his podcast. I haven't watched the whole thing. I've just seen the clips going around. But you can see Joe Rogan just being like, oh my God, what have I got myself into? You know, I was just a comedian. I liked MMA. And I'm talking about an international conspiracy from a German lunatic who's taken over a bunch of countries.
But the dude's just like, yes, and I've done this conspiracy very well.
That's exactly. He was very proud of it, in fact. But anyway, so what have they been doing? They've, of course, been freezing bank accounts. As they say, this is about following the money. This is about stopping the financing of these illegal blockades, says Freeland. We are today serving notice if your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended. Send your semi-trailers home. The Canadian economy needs them to be doing legitimate work, not illegally making us all poorer. Who the f*** do you think you are? The Canadian economy needs you to get to work. Whoosh, back to work, slaves.
You're illegally making us poorer by not working.
Yes. We are entitled to your labour.
We're entitled to our goods to be delivered from Amazon. I keep clicking and it's not arriving.
But it's not just that. It's like, I mean, seriously, break out the bloody southern plantation owner accent, Callum, because let's go for this next one. Right? You just see the attitude. When you click on the first link, do me a favour and read that in your southern accent.
We need to have a talk about these truckers on a more fundamental level. If they choose to stop working like this, the economy suffers. We all suffer. We can't get food, clothes, iPhones, you name it. The freedom of everybody to buy the necessary essentials trumps their freedom to stop working and hurt the economy. It is some kind of law we can invoke to keep them from delivering goods. Why are they just allowed to hurt the rest of us by not doing their jobs? Why must we wallow in poverty while the slaves do nothing?
If they don't pick that cotton, we don't get our money. They're making us all poorer. The Canadian, this is on a subreddit, a leftist subreddit, a Canadian leftist subreddit. As you see, well upvoted. Lots of people endorse this.
Well, the Leafs.
Yeah.
I hate the Leaf.
back to the plantation, say the leftists. And it was just like, it was amazing. It's just, these are just people commenting on it where it's, oh my God. They've actually literally got back to being slave owners.
Why should we wallow in poverty while these people don't do what we tell them to?
No, isn't it mad?
Like, you're just entitled to everything else. You're just entitled to it.
You're not. No, you're making the economy worse. Get back to work. So what if they don't want to work? You know, what if they're deciding to just quit and go be, cabbage farmers or something?
That's not allowed.
Diocletian style. Exactly. What happens then? You it's the entitlement. They feel that they own these people. But anyway, so they decided to go freeze a bunch of funds, and so they contacted lots of companies such as this Nunchuk.io, which is we want to freeze their Bitcoin wallets. And so these guys, if you get this up, John, you can just see they replied back by being, this is not how it works. Like, this is not like...
Yeah, I did see it.
Dear Ontario Superior Court of Justice, we're a self-custodial, collaborative, multi-sig Bitcoin wallet. We're a software provider, not a custodial financial intermediary. Our software is free to use. It allows people to eliminate single points of failure and store Bitcoin in the safest way possible while preserving privacy. We do not collect any user identification information beyond email addresses. We also do not hold any keys. Therefore, we cannot freeze our users' asset. We cannot prevent them from being moved. We do not have knowledge of the existence, nature, value, and location of our users' assets. And this is by design. I tell you what, right? So the Bitcoin guys, all the sort of the alt tech types, have all been saying, hey, look, if you don't have this decentralized stuff, the governments are going to come in and freeze all your stuff, and it'll be for the end. And this is exactly proof that they were right, and that they have now created a system that the Canadian government can't control.
Absolutely.
This is perfect.
And it's well done to them.
Perfect. Right?
I do want to focus just a minute on just how wonderful that email is.
Yeah, it's
can you imagine being the Supreme Court of Justice and you know nothing about Bitcoin?
Yeah, exactly.
Just freeze the assets. Can you imagine being the guy who sent this email? She's like, I can't freeze the assets. Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. It's so good that this is the sort of response that they're getting. But anyway, as you may well remember, Give Send Go, which after GoFundMe decided to freeze trucks funds, as we covered previously. Give, Send, Go decided they'd do it, but then they got hacked, and the person who hacked them was like an insane, cringe version of the Joker, who claims to have been from Anonymous, who's now supporting the international tyranny for some reason.
Very anonymous.
And yeah, this was published on the internet, and so a bunch of journalists decided to start harassing regular people who had donated small amounts of money to the truckers, and even Ilhan Omar, subversive Islamo-leftist, is like, why would a journalist feel the need to report on a shop owner making a small donation, other if not to get them harassed? So yeah, okay. And
I'm
as
impressed, actually. I was not expecting this from her.
I know, like what a shockingly
Anglo-Saxon political traditions here.
yeah, what a shockingly based take from Ilhan Omar of all people,
Private people.
calling them out as being evil. And so let's have an example of what sort of person is being harassed. So this is Mark Stroll, the MP for Chilliwack. That's actually a real place in Canada. Chilliwack. Sorry, Chilliwack. Even.
Chilliwack.
But I bet it's pretty cold. But it's a mean country. What do you want from me?
Found my city. What should we call it? I'll call it Chilliwack.
Right, so this was Brienne, apparently a single mother, who gave $50 to the convoy when it was 100% legal to do so. She hasn't participated in any other way, and her bank account has now been frozen, and this is the sort of person that Trudeau is actually targeting with his Emergency Act orders, those orders that are to become permanent. Just evil. Just outright evil.
Just perfectly innocent people.
I'm sure the single mother doesn't need her bank account.
No.
You know, I'm sure she's got nothing to pay for children.
Again, I've made this a million times, but it gets even more stark with this example. When we wanted to do sanctions on the CCP about Hong Kong, I believe it's like the lady who was put in charge of Hong Kong as a CCP puppet, we froze her bank account.
Yeah.
Like, she had to carry around suitcases full of cash for her salary.
Yeah.
Because she just couldn't operate a bank account.
Yeah.
Those are international sanctions levels things that we do. And we did this to someone who gave 50 buckaroos to a convoy.
Justin Trudeau is doing it to single mothers in Canada.
Yeah.
Evil. Anyway, so at least there are some legal challenges to these emergency orders. Finally, someone is doing something about some of this, at least. Alberta are apparently launching a court challenge of the Trudeau government's invocation of the Emergencies Act because they say it is unnecessary, disproportionate, violates natural justice, intrudes into provincial jurisdiction, and creates a dangerous precedent. Now, you may remember that basically all of the other provinces were just like, no, we do not need this. Please don't do this.
The capital is mad.
Yeah, this looks wild. And so the question, again, comes down really to, is Justin Trudeau acting on the orders of the World Economic Forum? And it kind of looked like he is. You know, this is not proportional, this is not reasonable. He hasn't done nothing to even engage with the truckers in any way, shape or form. He's just merely condemned them as racist, white supremacist, sexist, whatever, said that they're violent when they're clearly not, and has been out to essentially do everything he can to oppress them. And so this got raised in the Canadian Parliament. They were like, so what's the deal with the World Economic Forum that you're all a part of? Let's watch this clip.
I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay, let's try again. The honourable member for Timmins James Bay.
Mr. Speaker, that member was promoting open disinformation. That's not debate.
So that guy was on board with the World Economic Forum agenda then. Like what? The audio was just fine.
Do you understand? No, it was terrible, mate. I couldn't hear a thing. W what?
Yeah.
Why did he have to respond saying it's misinformation if he didn't understand the question?
Good question, but I couldn't understand it. Anyway. Like,
if we couldn't understand it, how could that guy respond saying he's promoting misinformation?
Yeah, how did you know it was a good question? How could he say it was disinformation? Like, it's obvious that this guy just is like, oh no, we can't talk about that. This is an unspoken agreement. We're not talking about this. And so it's like, right, okay, look, we know that, you know that we know, and we know that you know that we know, and yet you're still carrying on with this agenda anyway. This is Solzhenitsyn style, Soviet lies that is being put out now. Like, we know all of this. It's all out in the open because you put it on your goddamn website and just assuming we'd never read it. And then we went and read it. And then Justin Trudeau has had numerous appearances at the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab literally said, yes, we've penetrated half of Canada's cabinet, and also in Argentina, and also in New Zealand, and also we know that you're doing this.
They were boasting about the Dutch Parliament a while back as well.
Were they?
Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Well, there was I think it was the Prime Minister had been sent Klaus Schwab's Great Reset book.
Oh, that's right, the book.
And then written back being like, well, thank you very much. I absolutely love
wonderful.
this.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, but I never read it, I swear. So
yeah, absolutely. So it's all out in the open. And so Trudeau is looking increasingly like a dictator, and so Elon Musk tweeted out that he was, and got in a bit of trouble for it. You can scroll down, I think you can actually see the meme that Elon Musk posted. Scroll down a little bit. There we go. Scroll down a little bit more.
Stop comparing me to Justin Trudeau. I had a budget.
He was responding to a Twitter post by CoinDesk, which is a Bitcoin wallet service, also a part of the World Economic Forum, which reported that the Canadian yeah, no, not to my knowledge. I mean, if I receive Klaus Schwab's book in the mail, I guess we'll find out.
Who isn't? What's going on?
I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so Elon Musk deleted that 12 hours afterwards because he got in trouble. This is extremely poor taste, not a good look at all. There's a better way to make an argument. Yeah, but is there a more effective way to make an argument? You know, I mean, I think that was right. And
Is there a more funny way to make it?
The American Jewish Committee were like, how dare you besmirch the good name of Hitler? I mean, it's just really weird. It's like, so they say Musk may believe posting a meme comparing Justin Trudeau to a genocidal dictator who has exterminated millions is an appropriate way to criticize his policies to disagree with, but it is not. It never is.
Hitler was a good man, we swear.
But it's like you don't have to. Like the reason that he's using Hitler is because Hitler's bad, man.
Hitler is the bad man in the joke. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work otherwise.
He's not saying Jews deserved it or something. You know, the criticism is that Trudeau's doing the wrong thing by being like Hitler. But anyway, speaking of Hitler, because reductio ad Hitlerum,
everyone I don't like's literally Hitler.
Hashtag Blackface Hitler began trending this weekend on Twitter. With something like 200,000 tweets in the first couple of hours. It was a really popular meme that was going around, and unsurprisingly, I mean, Trudeau famously was asked how many times he'd done blackface, and he said, "I don't know." Done it that many times.
I can't get over just how high quality this image here as well.
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
This was normal, was it?
How many times has he done blackface, Callum?
I've lost count too. It's probably 0.
But I'm just not sure. But it's just so weird how this... And so, yeah, this Blackface Hitler meme is unsurprisingly rather effective. But anyway, I think the thing to end this segment on is just to remember who the regime is targeting here, right? So we can go to the next one, John. This is a great point that someone's made. You know, Epstein sold and raped children and never lost access to his banks. No, he did. Truck drivers and the My Pillow guy. Great point. Mm-hmm. Single mothers. You see the outline of the regime right there.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the book club me and Carl did together on Active Measures, which is a book documenting some of the autistic weirdness that the Soviets and the CIA did to each other throughout the Cold War. But if you'd like to follow me on Getter as well, you can follow at Getter_Callum. Thank you and goodbye.